Would you like to know how and where Mr. Fenn's treasure was really found? Would you like to know the story behind the finder's story? Are you still looking for answers to your own questions regarding the treasure hunt? If so, this video may have the answers you're looking for. The information presented here is based upon Mr. Fenn's own words, along with a timeline of events directly related to a post I presented in the fall of 2019 on Dal Neitzel's website under the section titled, I Think the Treasure is Here. In that post of October 2019, I offered the best information I could as to the locale of the treasure. On April 18th of 2020, I received this response.
I intend to visit New Mexico for the first time in my life. Been all about Wyoming and Montana until last fall. Going to be a long ride from Boston. Heaven help me.
As you can read here, this response was from J.Meils of Boston. After a little research, I've decided that the J must be an initial, and MEILS is an acronym for Massachusetts Educational Initiative for Latino Students. Here, J.MEILS states that in the fall of 2019, he had reached the conclusion to no longer search in Wyoming and Montana. Instead, he planned to travel to New Mexico to search for Fenn's treasure. On June 6, 2020, exactly 7 weeks to the day that I received that reply, Mr. Fenn announced that the treasure had been found by a person from back east. Since then, I have found this association quite interesting. Was J.MEILS from Boston and the person from back east one and the same? And most importantly, did the information I provide via Dal's site lead J.MEILS to the treasure? Please consider the following and decide for yourself. In this video, I offer the same conclusions that inspired a person to travel from Boston 2/3 of the way across the United States to New Mexico to search for Forrest Fenn's treasure. To follow along with this video, have nearby the dust jacket that came along with your copy of Mr. Fenn's book, The Thrill of the Chase. You may also want a copy of the USGS topo map titled Touch Me Not Mountain. So where was J. Miles' destination? To get directions to the treasure's locale, you need to look no further than the dust jacket for the thrill of the chase. The main clue regarding the area to start in is neatly placed among the text. It is there that Mr. Fenn played hide-and-seek with the clues. Read along with me at the bottom of the page and you will find the most important clue to the treasure's location. Quote, but it takes metal enough to strike the trail and enough confidence in a Maverick to know that the treasure is really there. Could Mr. Fenn have made this direction any clearer? In other words, take the Maverick Trail. The treasure is really there. The Maverick Trail he is referring to is about a 2.5-hour drive from his home in Santa Fe. Another clue from Mr. Fenn himself that supports the Maverick Trail scenario can be found within Season 2, Episode 7 of the TV show Expedition Unknown. It is in the episode titled Finding Fenn's Treasure. Starting at 19 minutes and 45 seconds into the episode, Josh Gates states, quote, Fenn told me that his wife hadn't realized when exactly he had hidden the treasure. That's how the hiding place had to be close enough to his home that he could travel there and return home without suspicion. Listen to Josh himself.
Fenn told me that his wife hadn't realized when exactly he'd hidden the treasure. That tells me the hiding place has to be close enough to his home that he could travel there and return without suspicion. Going by that theory, Yellowstone is way out of range.
Is it possible that one could drive from Santa Fe to the Cimarron Canyon and the Maverick Trail in one day, with enough time to go up the trail and hide the treasure? The answer is yes. Well, how does the Maverick Trail fit the poem's directive? Let's go over the clues to the poem.
As I have gone alone in there, and with my treasures bold, I can keep my secret where, and hint of riches new and old. Begin at where warm waters halt.
Begin at where warm waters halt is the first clue Mr. Fenn cites in the poem. If you look at the topo map, you will find at the top of the Cimarron Canyon is Eagle Nest Lake. According to the poem, you begin there. This is the second clue.
and take it in the canyon down. Not far, but too far to walk.
As you can see, according to the map, it is around 10 miles from the Eagle Nest Lake to the Maverick Trail. Here, Mr. Fenn suggests that it's too far to walk from Eagle Nest Lake to the Maverick Trail. Instead, you simply drive down the canyon.
Put in below the home of Brown.
Here is where you park your car, or put in, as Mr. Fenn's generational vernacular would have it. You can park your car at the Maverick Trail trailhead, right there on Highway 64. It is there that the Cimarron River decreases in size and becomes an area that is below where you can fish for brown trout. Here's the fourth clue.
From there, it's no place for the meek.
If you start hiking up the Maverick Trail, it won't be long before you find out firsthand why Mr. Fenn described it as no place for the meek. The Maverick Trail is marked four-wheel drive on the Toupal map, and it's just like climbing nearly 50 flights of stairs before you get to the side trail, where you can take a well-deserved break. The fifth clue.
The end is ever drawing nigh.
This line of the poem has a simple explanation. When you walk up the Maverick Trail, gaining in elevation, you're getting closer to the destination. As you ascend the main trail, you may notice to your left an impressive-looking stone promontory drawing nigh.
There'll be no paddle up your creek.
This is a very thoughtful directive that Mr. Fenn has added. As you ascend the trail, you have an opportunity to go to the left towards that promontory, and thus cross the Maverick Creek. Here Mr. Fenn is telling you to stay on the trail, where you will eventually turn to the right.
Just heavy loads and water high.
As offered in the text posted on Dow's site, I stated, the heavy loads part of the poem will not lead you any closer to the location of the treasure. However, it will offer a perspective of a writer vacillating from sharing personal information versus tactical information. In other words, the treasure was a heavy load to carry. The sixth clue is water high. Here Mr. Fenn is referring to the lakes that you will find due north of the Maverick Trail. On the Toupal map, you will find Lake Aspen and Lake Doris at around 8,800 feet. Further up, via Google Earth, you will see Mary's Lake, Adams Lake, and more. The seventh clue can be found in the line,
If you've been wise and found the blaze.
This is a great line inspired by a poem from the late 1900s that saw a revival during Mr. Fenn's early years. This is the poem. The wise old owl lived in an oak. The more he saw, the less he spoke. The less he spoke, the more he heard. Why can't we be like that wise old bird? Quite simply, Mr. Fenn is saying, look for a blaze on an oak tree. In this case, you look for a gamble oak. The poem goes on with,
Look quickly down your quest to cease, but tarry scant with marvel gaze, just take the chest and go in peace. So why is it that I must go and leave my trove for all to seek? The answers I already know. I've done it tired and now I'm weak.
You better believe he was tired and weak. You trying to running up and down the Maverick Trail a couple of times in one day. Here's your eighth clue.
So hear me all and listen good. Your effort will be worth the cold.
So what is he saying here? The Maverick Trail is closed from mid-May to late July, and even after that the monsoon season prolongs restricted access. Mr. Fenn is saying it's best to hit the trail during the colder months of the year, the months from October through April. That is when you can safely and easily make the ascent. Now, if you are still here, you must be interested enough to take in the finer details, so please grab a pencil and paper. These details were included in the original post as well. They are the longitudes, latitudes, and altitudes concerning the treasure's location. The longitudes and latitudes were derived from my own observations. The altitudes can be found within Mr. Fenn's own words. The ninth and final clue in the poem is,
If you've been brave and in the wood.
To get to the wood, you will have to leave the side trail. To do that, I offered these instructions. Once you reach the approximate altitude of 7,920 feet on the main trail, look to the right for a side trail and a resting place on that side trail at 36 degrees, 33.214 minutes north and 105 degrees, 8.346 minutes west. From there, you follow the side trail until you reach 36 degrees, 33.474 minutes north and 105 degrees, 8.218 minutes west. There you will find the trail takes a hard left, but you go to the right. This is where you will find yourself in the wood. When you leave that side trail, follow the reasonably flat area ahead of you. Do not go up the incline to your right, and do not go down the ravine to your left. Follow the walkway until you get to 36 degrees, 33.429 minutes north, and 105 degrees, 8.001 minutes west. This is an approximation point that more or less represents the area to search in. As you can see here, the view of the canyon is spectacular. This area has the most stands of reasonably sized gamble oaks for a blaze, and it also has a terrain that an 80-year-old could have covered. Now for the altitude. Here is an interesting bit of information about altitude. It can be found in the NBC's Today Show segment where Mr. Fenn states that the treasure is above 5,000 feet. Listen closely as at 1 minute and 6 seconds into the interview, he actually offers a Freudian slip clue of 7,000 feet. Give it a listen.
How about the clue?
Okay, the clue is the treasure is higher than 5,000 feet above sea level.
The treasure is higher than 5,000 feet above sea level. Can you give us more than that?
No.
No?
No.
Did you hear it? He's right. The treasure was above 7,000 feet. As a pilot, he naturally considered altitude as a direction. As a master of the double entendre, he must have had a lot of fun with the next 2 clues that he later offered. These clues will lead you to the altitude that the treasure was hidden within. You may recall Mr. Fenn's statement that some people have been within 200 feet of the treasure. I doubt I was the only one to tell Mr. Fenn about the rest area off the Maverick Trail. If you take the altitude of that rest stop, 7,920 feet, and add 200 feet, you get 8,120 feet. Mr. Fenn also stated that many people have been within 500 feet of the treasure. Again, this clue was accurate in terms of altitude. Someone may have driven by that 500-foot space since you started watching this video. Here Mr. Fenn was referring to people driving up and down Highway 64. If you take the altitude at the Maverick Trail trailhead, 7,640 feet, or Highway 64 at that point, and add 500 feet, you get 8,140 feet. That leaves you to search for the treasure within an area of around 8,100 feet in altitude. This fits the area described earlier of 36 degrees, 33.429 minutes north, and 105 degrees, 8.001 minutes west. This was the area the treasure was hidden within. Of course, the final line in the poem is,
I give you title to the gold.
So there you have it. These were the directions and information that in April of 2020 guided 1J miles from Boston to New Mexico, a place that, according to their own words, they had never been to before in their life. And 7 weeks to the day, the Forrest Fenn Treasure was revealed, as Mr. Fenn described by someone from back east. So what do you think? Did you notice some interesting correlations? Does this video help answer some of your questions as to how and where Mr. Fenn's treasure was found? I certainly hope so. Thank you for watching this video. If it piques or even better satisfies your curiosity about Forrest Fenn's treasure, please share it with other Fenn treasure hunters. Thank you.